For me, the main thing that drove me into therapy first was my coming to terms with my adoption issues. And I had always known that I was adopted when I was growing up. My family handled all of that really well. And then my very first semester of graduate school, so I was 24 years old, was sitting in a class that was talking about child development and looking at nature versus nurture. And I thought, well, maybe it's time for me to find my birth parents. At the point I thought, oh, well, this will be a good time. This will be a great intellectual exercise for me to sort through, what the nature and nurture debate. And so I wrote a letter to my birth parents. I got an answer back in 2 weeks from them, finding out that, they were happy I had reached out, and that they didn't even know if I was a boy or a girl when they gave me up. But the part of the story is that somebody gave me away was really hard. And what I learned in my own adoption story is that I was born in June. My birth mother was sent to a home for unwed mothers, but then my birth parents married in November and went on to have 2 more biological children. But pretty quickly, I had to come to terms with the fact that these people gave me away. So I had this whole very clear sense that I could have had this other life, and trying to come to terms with why didn't they keep me, and what did this mean that they didn't keep me. Still, there's something that felt very raw about the whole thing of not being wanted. And the other thing that I realized in therapy that I maybe had an inkling of when my sister was born is that I felt a lot of pressure to make my parents happy. I think that I really wanted to be sure that they wanted to keep me. And I felt that in a lot of different places where I've been in my life, that's the adoption theme for me, is you'll be really glad that you kept me. I was in therapy for 2 years first, right around just grappling with these first issues around the adoption. And also I was in a very, very, very unhappy relationship that I could see that was also related to a lot of these themes. And then I took a break, and then I went back for another 2 years. What I learned in therapy is how much of my approach to life came from a lot of unresolved pain and issues and fears from my earlier childhood, and instead, how to really take a look at who I am and who I want to be, and how to run my life that's not based on these old fears and old wounds. If I were to give someone advice about how therapy could be helpful to them, or if they were considering going to therapy, I would want them to understand how transformative it can be, how it can really help you in your relationship with yourself. And that doesn't mean that everything becomes all sunshine and light after therapy, but instead it's just such a powerful place to know how to accept yourself, to know how to contend with life's challenges in a really open and honest way. And so it's easy to want other people to change when you're unhappy in relationships, and instead what therapy empowers you to do is to take charge of your life in a way that you change yourself, and therefore your relationships change.